Hello, and welcome back to this random table where I fix stuff. This is a mechanical accountant calculator. I think this originally came out in 1902. I'm not sure when this particular machine was made, but this is the simplex version. So this works pretty similar to the comptometer, with the exception that it has two dials here. So this one is your accumulator, like on the comptometer, that's the dial in the front. But then this back one shows the last number you press. So for example, if I press 5, you see it adds 5 and also displays 5 because 5 is the last number. If I press 4, you see it adds 4 to the accumulator and also displays 4 as the last number that I pressed. And then this space bar looking thing down here clears out this register. So you can see now that register is cleared out. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not, but you can see this number is missing and this number is missing. So I'm hoping that the dials in here are kind of like the comptometer, where it's a metal drum with a plastic ring around the outside that has the numbers painted on it. So hopefully just the plastic piece has like broken off or something. So hopefully we can just glue that back in. Hopefully that will be about it. See, just turn it around. On the back it has this little decal on it. And on the side here it has the crank for clearing the accumulator. And then on the bottom it has the directions, how to use it. So the first thing, let's see if we can get this cover off. So I'll start by seeing if I can take the handle off the side here, just there's one screw in the middle of it. So I don't want to turn this handle until I fix the dials here, just in case those plastic pieces I'm suspecting have fallen off, got down inside the gears or something. I don't want to grind them up by turning the handle before I take a look at what's there. So I'll take out 4 screws, one in each corner. Well, for 1902, this machine can actually be more advanced than the comptometer, and it's definitely smaller as well. In 1902, that was before comptometer came out with the duplex version, so they were still selling the wooden encased models in 1902 that you could only press one key at a time on. Now there was, at that time, in 1902, this machine would be more advanced than the comptometer because on both the comptometer and this machine in 1902, you could only press one key at a time, but this one was a lot smaller for one thing. It had a metal case instead of the comptometer's wooden case, and it had this last pressed register, for error correction. So you could make sure that you pressed the right numbers, see what you pressed. The duplex comptometer came out in 1904, and on that one that's when they switched over to the metal case and you could press multiple keys at a time on the comptometer Model A. I'm not sure when the duplex version of this machine came out. So I think this should be free now. Oh, maybe. I have to fight with this a little bit. Let's see if we can. There we go. Okay, so that's off. So it looks like I'm going to have to take these 2 screws out here. Which actually doesn't really seem like they're attached to anything. That's interesting. That one might be attached. I wonder if that's the right screw. The plastic here doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's yellow, but it's not too terrible. Okay, so it looks like my theory was partially correct, except that it seems to be paint instead of plastic. So if you look real close here, you can see how it's kind of peeling off there. I thought they would be a plastic one, but it looks like they're just painted on. So let me first see if I can try to find the remaining pieces down in the bottom, and I'll definitely, see this one's starting to put up, so I'll glue that one back down and glue that one back down and hopefully preserve these ones. But hopefully I can find the remaining pieces and glue them back on. So let me get started on that, and then I think this machine will just need an oiling. I mean, it seems like it works pretty well. Nothing seems to be sticky or anything. So anyway, let me see if I can find the missing pieces for that, and then hopefully just clean it up and do a little bit of demo. So I'm making a little bit of progress here. I fixed this zero that was starting to fall apart. It's not perfect, but it should preserve it from getting any worse. This one didn't come out too bad. I glued this piece back in the middle. This one I'm still working on. See, I glued the 0 to the bottom of the 2 back on. That was one big piece. And I've still got these pieces left to glue on. Luckily they were all in the bottom of the machine, and I think it should come out complete. You see we've got the bottom of the 2 here, and we got the middle of the 2 here, and then the top of the 2, and then the bottom of the 3, and the middle of the 3, and then the very tippy top of the 3 is just right on there. So we should have all the pieces, so they should come out okay, assuming I can get them all glued back on properly. So hopefully this will be 100% once we're done here. I mean, as far as readability, like I said, this one's not quite perfect, but you can definitely tell that this is 0, so it should definitely be functional. Okay, so I've glued these pieces back on. It's not perfect, but it's definitely a lot better than it was, and you can easily read the numbers now. You can still kind of see some of the cracks here and there, but so we're on 3, so we should add 7 to get back to 0. So you can see this piece was broken off, so it was missing from here all the way up to the bottom of the 4. So I'll just go through one by one. See, you can usually see the cracks in the 2, and you can kind of see the top crack in the 3. But I think it'll be okay. So let's see if clearing will work now. Looks like it. That's good. Okay. So we can try. And it looks like it adds properly. Yeah, that's right. So we can probably do our other test. Where we do all the numbers. And that's the correct answer, so all the carries and the adding seems to be correct. Like I said, this is the simplex machine, so you can't do like the 2-column trick like that on this machine, so we don't have to test that because this machine isn't going to do that. I did take this panel off just to get a look at it, and it's actually, oh, you can't even see that. I took the panel off down here, and it's actually wood on the back with felt glued onto it. You can see originally the felt was green, but with all the dirt that's on it, it almost looks like a yellowish. Like when I originally saw this machine, I thought that it had yellow felt on it because, the dirt on it almost made it look like it was originally yellow, at least to me anyway. So I think I'm going to actually leave the felt alone. I'm not really sure how I would even try to clean this. I mean, if you get this wet, it's probably just going to fall apart. This wood on the back here is 100 years old, and the felt is 100 years old too, at least. So I'm just going to leave that alone and not worry about it, because really, when you have it all together, it doesn't look dirty. At least not to me anyway. It looks like, that could be, an original color. at least to me anyway. So I think I'm going to leave that alone rather than risk destroying it. So I think the only thing left here to do is oil, and I think that I can take all of these off to oil it. They just slide out like that, and they'll allow me to get rid of some of the larger chunks of dirt anyway. So I'll take all these out and get some of the larger chunks of dirt off of ones like this. You can see the big piles of dirt here. We can get rid of those, but other than that I'm just going to leave them as is. I think it'll be okay. So I'll take all these out and then oil it, and then I'll probably give a little overview of how this machine actually works. These don't seem to be super common. There doesn't seem to be a lot of them come up on eBay or online or anything, so I'm kind of interested to see how it works, see if it's probably going to be pretty similar to how the comptometer works, but you see the columns actually like rock forward sort of or the keys actually kind of rock forward when you push them down, so it'll be interesting to see the exact mechanism here. So let me take these all out and I'll bring you back then. So not unsurprisingly, this is pretty similar to the comptometer, just pretty much rearranged. So you can see as I push this, it rocks down here a little bit. So when I push this down, you see it pulls this bar here. This bar is getting pulled back until this pin hits this peg, which pulls this back a little bit. And what all that does is this bar pulls back a rocker that has teeth on the end that drives the wheel forward. So as this is getting pulled down, the wheel is being driven forward. Not sure, you can kind of see it moving there. Then the rocker also has teeth along the bottom. You can kind of see right here, these teeth. So when this peg hits this bar and pulls this bar back, this pushes a lock up into these teeth so that the rocker can't move anymore, and therefore this bar can't move anymore, and that's the bottom of the key. So the comptometers have a pretty similar idea to that, just that instead of the bars being pulled back, the bars are pushed down in the comptometer, but it's a similar principle. So that's how it drives the wheel, and that's what provides the stop and prevents overshoot. So as far as the wheels on the top, how they work, as this bar is being pulled back, there's also another rocker you can kind of see right here that drives the display or the last digit pressed wheels, and then that has a little ratchet here, so that locks into whatever was last pressed. And you can kind of watch if I push, say, 3, you can see the ratchet releases, this gets driven up right there, and the ratchet comes back up to lock it in place, and you see 3 on the top. If I press the 6, you can see that it's driven farther forward, and the ratchet locks it in there. And if I push the release bar, it just drops the ratchet, and then that wheel goes back to 0. So that's pretty simple operation, kind of same idea to the comptometer, just a different layout like I said. And then when you clear it, the whole shaft in the middle just spins around and brings all the wheels to the 0 position. I can't exactly see what's going on inside there, but I assume that, actually maybe we can see it right here. Oops. The camera's not going to show it, but there's probably a tooth on that shaft that drives everything to its 0 position. You can focus on that. See if that changes when I turn the crank. Yeah, so you can see that there's a little pawl in there that latches onto the center shaft, and as the center shaft spins around, it pulls that pawl up to its 0 position, and then if you see that it keeps going around, and then when I return the center shaft spins until it catches it, and then drives it to 0. Carriers are pretty similar. There's a snail cam on the inside of each of the wheels, and then when the snail cam gets to the end, the cam follower drops off and drives the next wheel forward 1 position. So that's also pretty similar to the comptometer. So I think that's about it for this machine. as far as like how it works, it's a pretty simple mechanism really. Just pretty cool because it was more advanced for the comptometer at the time that it came out. So I'll oil this up and put it back together, and then we can do some more demonstrations, and I think that will be it. Okay, so this is back together again. The keys cleaned up pretty well. You can see most of them are pretty readable. There's maybe a little bit dirt there, maybe I could scrub it a little bit more, but for the most part you can read all the numbers, and I think they clean up pretty well for being over 100 years old. So we already did some addition demonstrations, so we'll do a subtraction demonstration. Now the one downside of this machine is that it doesn't have the carry inhibits. So if I have, say, 47 and I want to subtract 3, I have to enter 0.0000002 on the small digits. And the reason you do that is because you enter the number you want to subtract minus 1 on the small digits. So if I want to subtract 3, 3 minus 1 is 2, so I'm going to enter 2 on the small digits, but I have to enter all the leading zeros because it doesn't have carry inhibits. So I'll enter, and of course I can only press one key at a time, so we'll start from this side and work our way across. And you can see I had 47, I subtracted 3, and now I have 44. So that seems to be working. And do a multiplication. I'll do 25 times 25. So the directions on the back tell you to press the key in this column first and then hold it down where you press the key in this column. So we're going to be doing 25, so we'll do 25 times 25. So enter 25 5 times in this column. That's 5 times, so enter it 2 times in this column. You can see 25 times 25 is 25, so that's working. Now we can do a division as well. Let's go over here. So this time we want to start, we're going to divide by 113, so we're going to use the small numbers 112, because it's always one less for subtraction. So we'll start and we'll work our way across. So 242 is still bigger than 113. Still bigger. Now it's smaller, so we move over by one column. So 160 is bigger than 113. Now it's smaller, so we move over one column. 470 is bigger than 113. Over again, 180 is bigger. 670 is bigger. 105 is smallest. Move over. Now we got a 1 in this column. 1 right to the left of us, so we enter the number once. And proceed. Okay, we can see our answer is 3.14159, and then this is the remainder. So that seems to be working. So I think that's going to be about it for this machine. Seems to work just fine. Minimal cleanup. Just had to glue those numbers back on. The paint back on these digit wheels here. Everything seems fine now, and actually, the numbers looking, pretty decent shape. Now, the keyboard's in really good shape. Usually, like these are the older style composite keys, I think. And usually on the comptometer, these are usually, in pretty bad shape. And the numbers were off and everything. But this machine, the keyboard's pretty good shape. There's some paint wearing off here, but that can easily be repainted. The numbers are in pretty good shape in my opinion, so that's good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. This originally came out in 1902, The Mechanical Accountant. Like I said, I'm not sure when this one was made, but I hope you enjoyed this short video, and thank you for watching.